ever find yourself at like a rental car counter, especially during like peak travel season,
Oh, yeah.
and you're just kind of watching everything that's happening and you're like,
Hmm.
what is going on here?
Right.
That is what we are diving deep into today
Yes.
with RoleCatcher.
Absolutely.
All about being a rental service representative.
Yeah. And these excerpts are great
Hmm.
because they really go beyond just like the basics, right?
Yeah.
We're not just talking about handing over keys.
Right.
This is about, like you said, peak travel season. You got all these customers coming in.
Totally. And you have to know what kind of car they need.
Yes. You've got to assess the situation,
What kind of assurance.
like all that stuff.
It's a lot of logistics, too.
Yes.
It's like, making sure that car gets back in one piece.
Yeah. It's funny because you don't think about it when you go up to that counter,
Right.
but someone has to make sure that that happens.
And they've got to be on top of it.
Yes. Because you've got a lot of people, a lot of cars, and,
Yeah. And you got to be a little bit of a detective, too.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because you're looking at these cars when they come back.
Oh, absolutely. Every
Yeah.
scratch, every dent,
Right.
it's all got to be documented.
Like, this car has seen some things.
Right. And that's where those reports come into.
Oh, yeah. RoleCatcher really emphasizes that.
Critical.
That documentation.
Yeah.
Those vehicle inspection reports, they're crucial.
They're historical records for those cars.
Yes, they are. And you're the one who's like, okay,
This wasn't here before,
exactly.
but it is now.
Yeah.
And speaking of changes, I mean, this industry is really embracing technology
Yes.
in fascinating ways.
It's true. And RoleCatcher hints at even bigger shifts to come.
Oh, for sure. I mean,
Like, what is this going to look like in a couple years?
exactly.
Will we be prepping self-driving cars for customer pickup?
Right. It really makes you wonder.
It does.
But, even with those advancements, some things remain constant.
Yeah.
This job, it really is a crash course in adaptability.
It's true, because you could have, a family walk up one minute needing a minivan,
Exactly.
and then the next minute it's, a business traveler who wants a luxury sedan.
Totally. RoleCatcher's pros and cons list, they highlight that variety.
Yes, they do.
But with that variety comes the potential for stress.
Oh, yeah. Can you imagine, like, a holiday rush at a busy airport counter?
Oh, my goodness. That's the ultimate test
Right.
of keeping your cool under pressure.
Talk about a high-stress situation.
Absolutely. And that's where, communication and problem solving are key.
Yeah, RoleCatcher really emphasizes that those skills are so important in this role.
Essential.
And it makes sense because, you're not just handing over keys, you're managing expectations.
Right. You're putting out fires left and right.
Yes. With a smile, hopefully.
Hopefully, yes. But it's not always easy.
No, it's not. And speaking of not always easy, one thing that surprised me that RoleCatcher mentioned was the increasing focus on eco-friendly options.
Oh, interesting.
Like, I don't usually associate that with car rentals.
No, not typically.
Yeah,
But it makes sense.
it does.
It's a sign of the times,
Yeah, it is.
More and more electric and hybrid vehicles.
It's true.
And who's on the front lines of that?
Right.
Rental service representatives. They get to educate the customers.
It's true. So you're not just a rental service representative, you're like an ambassador for sustainable transportation.
Exactly. You're shaping perceptions.
That's so interesting. So we've got this mix of customer interaction, logistical juggling, and now a dash of environmental awareness. What stands out to you as the most intriguing part of this role so far?
It really is fascinating when you think about all of those different things coming together.
It's a lot. And speaking of things coming together, RoleCatcher lays out a whole career path
Right.
that I never really considered before.
Yeah, and they do a great job of going through those different stages from entry level all the way up to director.
Yeah, it's really cool to see that trajectory. But I'm curious about something. RoleCatcher mentions mastering this like specific rental software
Oh, yeah.
early on.
Uh-huh.
What is that? What kind of software are we talking about here?
So forget about like your basic spreadsheets or anything like that.
Okay.
This is much more specialized,
Yeah.
Things like reservation management, you've got fleet tracking, even like real-time vehicle diagnostics.
Wow. Okay.
They need to keep track of everything.
That's a lot of data.
It is, and it's only growing.
So somebody with like a real knack for technology would probably excel in this.
For sure.
Yeah. But it seems like that customer service element
Yes.
stays consistent throughout.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can't replace that human touch.
Right.
And I think RoleCatcher does a really good job in these example profiles,
Yeah.
showing how that like entry-level interaction
Mm-hmm.
with the customer is like the basis.
Totally. You're building that rapport.
Yeah.
You're understanding their needs.
Wow.
And then sometimes you're putting out fires.
Right.
with a smile.
Exactly. Yeah.
So let's talk about those profiles for a second.
Okay.
What is that next step up like? So you've mastered the basics. You're comfortable with the software.
Mm-hmm.
What does a junior rental service representative actually do day to day?
Well, now you're dealing with, a bit more complex tasks.
Okay.
You might be coordinating rentals for larger groups,
Okay.
handling those vehicle returns, maybe even assisting with like basic maintenance scheduling.
Oh, so you're getting into the more nitty-gritty behind-the-scenes stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. You're starting to get more responsibility.
That's cool. And from there, it seems like you move up to that senior rental service representative.
That's right.
And that's where RoleCatcher really describes this shift from just managing rentals
Right.
to like the bigger picture thinking.
That's right. More strategic.
Yeah. So you're analyzing those trends. You're optimizing the processes.
Right.
And maybe you're even coming up with some ideas to bring in new customers.
Absolutely. Or how to improve things.
Exactly.
Just make everything run a little smoother.
And RoleCatcher also highlights the financial responsibilities that come in at this stage.
Yes.
Which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
What does managing budgets actually look like for a senior rental service representative?
Well, it's less about, being a master of spreadsheets
Sure.
and more about understanding the financial health of, your branch
Okay, got it.
or department.
Right.
So you might be analyzing, rental rates,
Okay.
maybe negotiating with some suppliers, trying to get better deals, on maintenance for the vehicles, or even like suggesting if they should invest in new technology
Oh, wow.
to improve efficiency, things like that.
So it's really interesting because you're taking those years of experience
Right.
dealing with all these different things.
Exactly.
And now you have this knowledge to be able to say, hey, maybe we should be doing this a little differently.
I've got an idea.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
That's cool. And then it seems like that naturally progresses to more of those leadership positions that
sorry.
RoleCatcher outlines.
Yeah, you're managing branches. You might be overseeing a specific department.
So you could even specialize in fleet management or customer relations, or even, we were talking about it earlier.
Right. Or like sustainability.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yay. That's so cool. And of course, the pinnacle, at least according to RoleCatcher, is the director of rental services.
That's the top.
That's amazing. So you start from handing over the keys to running the entire show.
It's a journey.
It really is. That's so cool. It's so cool that RoleCatcher really lays out this whole trajectory.
That's impressive. Yeah.
And it shows that there's real potential for growth within this,
Absolutely.
which is something I just never would have thought of.
It's true.
But it's really cool to see it laid out that way. And those skills that you were just talking about, especially that problem-solving aspect,
Right.
RoleCatcher has this whole section called interview prep.
Yes.
And some of these questions are really something else.
They're tough.
It's like they're trying to throw you some curveballs in those interviews.
Oh, absolutely. They want to see how you think on your feet.
Right. Because it's not always going to be smooth sailing with every customer.
Exactly. You're going to have those moments.
You have to know how to handle it. It makes you think, like, what would I even do in those situations?
Right. It's a good thought exercise for anybody.
It is. It is. And RoleCatcher really gets you thinking with these questions, like, how would you handle a difficult customer who's unhappy with their rental? Like, that's a tough one.
It is. And there's no easy answer.
Right.
But I think what they're really getting at there is
Yeah.
how do you handle those interpersonal dynamics?
Right. Because it's not just about, like, knowing the computer system.
Exactly.
You got to be able to talk to people.
You got to be able to navigate those tricky situations.
Yeah. You know, keep a cool head.
So it's about demonstrating those soft skills, like the empathy,
Oh, for sure.
active listening,
Yeah.
communicating clearly. Like, let's say somebody comes up and the car they reserved isn't available.
Oh, that's a tough one.
How do you even begin to deal with that?
Well, I think the first thing is, really acknowledge their frustration.
Okay.
Don't interrupt them. Don't try to get defensive.
Yeah.
Sometimes, just letting someone get it off their chest
Right.
can really help to just, kind of de-escalate.
Yeah.
And then you offer a sincere apology, even if, it's not really your fault.
Right.
It's about taking ownership in that moment.
Right. Right. Take one for the team.
Exactly.
Okay. But then what? I feel like apologies only get you so far when someone's really upset.
Right, right. You've got to offer solutions.
Yes. So what are some things that a rental service representative can actually do to, like, fix this situation? Okay, well, RoleCatcher actually talks about this. They suggest, first, see if there are any comparable cars available.
Okay.
Maybe there's something similar to what they reserved,
Yeah.
or maybe you can offer them a free upgrade,
Oh, nice.
or at least a discounted upgrade.
Okay.
It's about getting creative within the boundaries of your company's policies.
Yeah, because you can't just be like, sure, here's the keys to like our most expensive car.
Exactly. Got to stay within the lines.
Right, exactly. But you can be a little bit flexible and try to find something.
Right. Work that magic.
Yes, that works for everybody.
Exactly.
It's like you're a rental ninja.
Right. With like a tool belt full of solutions.
Yes, I love that. And it's cool how, based on these RoleCatcher excerpts, you can see how you build those skills.
Right. It's a progression.
From just handling, like, the very basic rental transaction to, like, managing budgets and maybe even influencing, like, company-wide strategies.
It's impressive, really, when you think about it, that you can start, explaining insurance to a first-time renter, and then potentially down the line, you're shaping those very policies.
That's so cool. It really is. Like, from the ground up, you can work your way to the top.
Absolutely. You're building that foundation.
And it all starts with just those everyday interactions with the customers.
That's where it begins.
I love it. I love that we're getting to see this other side of, like, what we think of as a rental service representative.
Yeah, it's not just what it seems,
No, it's so much more.
There's a lot going on behind the scenes.
It really is. And it's so interesting to get this glimpse into that world.
Yeah, it's like a hidden gem of a career path.
It is.
Who knew?
Who knew? Well, RoleCatcher, I guess.
Exactly.
They knew. But now we know.
Now we're all in the know.
Yes. And I think that's what makes this depth dive so fascinating. So on that note, I think we're going to wrap up our exploration into the world of rental service.
Sounds good.
I hope you enjoyed this journey as much as we did. It was a fun one.
It was really interesting to, kind of peel back those layers.
Totally. And next time you're at that rental car counter, you're going to think twice about the person behind it.
Exactly. There's a lot more to it.
It's not just handing over keys. It's this whole thing.
It's a whole industry
It is.
with its own rhythms
Yes, exactly.
and challenges and,
It's a whole world.
rewards.
It is. All right, until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.
See you in the next one.